Hell is empty and all the devils are here. Literally. Sorry. Hey guys, my name is Victoria, welcome back to my channel. I'm filming my September wrap-up, my favorite format to film. I'm going to tell you about all the books that I read or listened to last month because it's officially October the 1st, and guess what awaited me this morning? A special number, because I've reached 666 subscribers on October 1st. Can we hear an applause, y'all? This October shall be great because of this. And also, you get it? I mean, everyone gets it because it's not that difficult. It's officially the first video of October, a fun month. I'm starting uni this month, but also, of course, it's Halloween. Yes, also the start of fall, like really, I'm so excited for fall, I can't wait for it. But for now, let's linger a little bit in the past and see what kind of books I read. I don't know, this whole fit is giving me an attitude. I read 8 books this month and I'm going to show you 9 because I already started with another one but haven't finished it yet. Let's talk about the first one that I've listened to, which is The Children of Jocasta, or Jocasta. It's Greek, I don't know how to say it, by Natalie Haynes. I gave this book 4 stars and I read or listened to 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes last month. Or in August, because right now it's the 1st of October. And I loved it. And she is amazing in writing or retelling Greek mythology tales, or just Greek myths. And this one is all about Jocasta's family. I'm just gonna call her Jocasta because that's what they always said. Some of you may not have any knowledge about like Greek mythology and think, okay, like who the hell is this Jocasta person? But you might know her husband. Oedipus. Apparently you call him Oedipus in English. Okay, I call him Oedipus. And you might have heard of the Oedipus complex, where like the dude falls in love with his mother. Really f***ing weird thing, Freud. Really f***ing weird. Because the story is actually a bit different, and that is what it's all about. I'm gonna read you the summary real quick. In The Children of Jocasta, Natalie Haynes takes a fresh perspective on an ancient story, reimagining in gripping prose how the Oedipus and Antigone stories would look if the oft-overlooked female characters took center stage, retelling the myth to reveal a new side of an ancient story. Jocasta is just 15 when she is told that she must marry the king of Thebes, an old man she has never met. Her life has never been her own, and nor will it be, unless she outlives her strange, absent husband. Ismene, I'm probably saying this wrong, is the same age when she is attacked in the palace she calls home. Since the day of her parents' tragic deaths a decade earlier, she has always longed to feel safe with the family she still has. But with a single act of violence, all that is about to change. With the turn of these two events, a tragedy is set in motion, but not as you know it. It's a story about betrayal, love, heartbreak, motherhood, family, miscommunication, really unfortunate circumstances, violence, and war. First of all, it's great insight into the lives of the women in the story because nobody ever talks about them, but it's also a story of so much knowledge. The myths and the stories you always heard of then really come to life, which I really love. I mean, you can read thousands of textbooks and have the information, but when you actually read retellings of such things, because I love Greek mythology, I'm a huge fan, you just get the emotional side. It's not only like facts or mythical facts of a certain time, of a certain belief, of a certain faith and religion. It's a story of real people when you read these retellings or when you listen to them. And that's what I really love about retellings. If you have any good recommendations, leave them down below. I gave this book a 4 out of 5, as I said. At some parts it was kind of strange because I got mixed up with whose perspective am I with right now, because it always switched between Jocasta and her daughter Ismene, and I also was sometimes confused, wait, how's this family dynamic working right now? So that was a bit confusing. I recommend the physical copy because if you never heard of these people before, then it might be a bit hard to follow, but it was great. I loved it, I really did. The second book I read or listened to this month was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I'm learning French, still don't know how to say it. This is a classic that has been known for many years and has been very popular, and I liked it. I gave it 3.75 stars. The summary is really cool, so I'm going to read it to you. With these words, the reader is ushered into an isolated grey stone mansion on the windswept Cornish coast as the second Mrs. Maxime de Winter recalls the chilling events that transpired as she began her new life as the young bride of a husband she barely knew. For in every corner of every room were phantoms of a time dead but not forgotten, a past devotedly preserved by the sinister housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers. A suit immaculate and untouched, clothing laid out and ready to be worn, but not by any of the great house's current occupants. With an eerie presentiment of evil tightening her heart, the second Mrs. de Winter walked in the shadow of her mysterious predecessor, determined to uncover the darkest of secrets about Maxime's first wife, the late and hauntingly beautiful Rebecca. We have a woman who is alone, therefore very lonely, and she has no one. She's actually being paid in the beginning of the story to serve as company to an older woman. She meets Maxime de Winter and falls in love with him and then moves in with him because he proposes to her, and then they get married. And then you have this mysterious Rebecca, and the whole story unfolds while the reader never gets to know the protagonist's name. We only know her as Mrs. de Winter, or the second Mrs. de Winter, and nothing else, which I thought was really clever and really fun, because I said it in my reading vlog, I feel like a name gives you a sort of basis or a foundation of an identity, and if you don't have a name, or if people don't know your name, you're not really there. You don't really exist, which is kind of weird. I know, it's just my opinion, but I felt that throughout the entirety of the book, because I get to know more about this Rebecca than I get to know about the second Mrs. de Winter, about the protagonist, from whose perspective the story is told. It's crazy that this whole story is about Rebecca, but she's not in there once. It's a mystery love story with secrets, which make this book really, really fun, and also a great classic if you want to start with classics, because the language is actually pretty easy and it's a lot of fun to read and to experience. I definitely recommend it. I also like the movie. I talk more about this in my reading vlog. The third book I finished, I actually have a physical copy of, which is nice, is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I waited so long to finally have and read this book, and I can say that I was disappointed. I already talked about this in 2 of my videos, so I'm gonna make it really quick. This story is again about famous people, and I think that's sort of Reid's thing. I think she likes to write about this group of people. It's about Nina Riva, and she is having her annual end of summer party, and she is a very, very famous and beautiful model and surfer. Her brothers are also famous. Jay is a championship surfer, and Hud is a professional photographer, and they also have a like baby sister, that's what they always call her, but she's 20 years old. Kit, and she also likes to surf, but she's kind of in the shadows of her siblings. Now the story unfolds in many, many perspectives, and that's what I really, really liked about this book. You don't only have Nina's insights, but you have chapters of Hud's perspective and Jay's and Kit's perspective, which I really, really, really loved. And then a lot of chapters also are set in the past, which I love. The amount of care that the author puts into her books is insane, and the amount of characters that are so superficial at first glance but had really traumatic experiences in their past, which are later revealed, is insane. I loved this book. I couldn't stop reading it, and I think that's the thing that comes with Taylor Jenkins Reid, because I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I heard of Daisy and the Six, and everyone says the same thing about her books, that they're just so gripping and that the characters move the plot forward, because without the characters the plot wouldn't take place. And that's, I think I prefer that to plot-driven books, but that's just my opinion. She loves writing about scandal, and she loves putting family drama and love drama and cheating and all that kind of stuff into this book, and I think I found my most hated character in the entirety of the books that I read, who is Mick Riva. I hate him. If I was the devil and I had any power, I would bring him straight to hell. I bet he's already there. Just kidding, okay. Anyway, that's stupid. One thing I did not like about the book, which I think is there on purpose, and I said it in my reading vlog, it's very superficially ideal. I hope you get what I'm getting at. All the characters are flawless. They're beautiful. Women are skinny but have a full chest. All their faces look the same. If they don't have beautiful blonde hair, they have long, luscious brown hair, they have big eyes, a little pointy nose, and full lips, and that is something that is just not realistic. And I do not like that, so you can barely identify with the characters, although part of the storyline was very relatable to me, or for me. And the men obviously are the same, like they all have super amazing fit bodies, and they just all look flawless, which I do not like. I don't think flawless is a fitting word because I don't think that the opposite of these people is like the definition of having flaws. They just look perfect for the superficial society that we have nowadays, which is sad. But yeah, that is one thing that kind of nudged me in the beginning, but the story is just really, really great. And if you are a fan of a lot of drama and scandal and fast-paced books, then I would definitely recommend you Malibu Rising and other books by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I definitely will continue reading my way through her books. The fourth book I read this month was The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This is a very long book and it took me a while to listen to it. The story is set in America in the time of the Great Depression. This was a really intense story about family, poverty, sacrifice, a lot of fighting. Not in the sense of warlike fighting, but mentally fighting to get through the day. Texas, 1934. Elsa Martinelli had finally found the life she yearned for, a family, a home, and a livelihood on a farm on the Great Plains. But when drought threatens all she and her community hold dear, Elsa's world is shattered to the winds. Fearful of the future, when Elsa wakes to find her husband has fled, she is forced to make the most agonizing decision of her life. Fight for the land she loves or take her beloved children, Loretta and Aunt, west to California in search for a better life. Will it be the land of milk and honey, or will their experience challenge every ounce of strength they possess? So it's not only a long-lasting fight, it's a long-lasting fight led by a woman. And I'm not gonna tell you if they fail or if they succeed. That's something that is not guaranteed when you read this book, let me tell you. It's really heartbreaking how much these people go through and how much responsibility is set upon Elsa, how much she has to sacrifice to keep her children safe and to give her children a better life and do it all on her own. I don't really want to say too much about this book because I've gone in with zero expectations and I came out having experienced a great, very nuanced and tragic story. Read this book if you're interested in historical fiction. I think it's amazing and it taught me a lot about the Great Depression. So that's a good book I would recommend. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. September started with me going back to Hogwarts. I was celebrating that day and I started reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and kept on reading it throughout the entirety of the month because I really love just going back to Harry Potter because I know the story so well. The 5th book I finished this month was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is the 2nd time I read it and the 1st time I read it in English. I love it, and I read it in the most beautiful book there is. This is the first one out of the new series of the Harry Potter books, illustrated by Mina Lima. If you don't know them, they are the designers of a lot of the things in Harry Potter and the illustrators in general. So yeah, Google them, they have a whole shop, like they designed almost everything that is in the movies. This book is absolutely gorgeous. I loved reading it. It's a 5 out of 5, and just the reading experience with all the pages, all the illustrations. I just stared at a couple pages for minutes on end, and I can tell you that each time I reread this book, I will notice something new. There's so much detail in this edition. Do I have to summarize Harry Potter? It's about Harry Potter, and he lives with his aunt and uncle and his cousin, who are not really nice to Harry because his parents died when he was just a baby. He doesn't know why, and he also doesn't know that he's a wizard, but then gets the opportunity of a lifetime and is sent to Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and that's when the entire adventure starts. For people who don't know Harry Potter. Okay, that's the 5th book I completed this month. The 6th book I listened to this month was Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I read Loveless by her in March, also read Nick and Charlie in I think June or July. And what else? Oh yeah, Heartstopper. So the first graphic novel. And I'm gonna read you the summary of Solitaire. In case you're wondering, this is not a love story. My name is Tori Spring. I like to sleep and I like to blog. Last year, before all that stuff with Charlie and before I had to face the harsh realities of A-levels and university applications and the fact that one day I really will have to start talking to people, I had friends. Things were very different, I guess, but that's all over now. Now there's Solitaire and Michael Holden. I don't know what Solitaire are trying to do, and I don't care about Michael Holden. I really don't. This is the debut novel of Alice Oseman, and you can kind of see it. First of all, I like that it's about a character who's named Victoria, even though she hates being called that way. Her name is Tori. Let's call her Tori, otherwise she'll get upset. Tori is a very stressed, very bottled up character. She doesn't really show her feelings. She doesn't express herself in any way other than her blog. She doesn't really care for anything or anyone, and she's just pissed off almost all of the time, which sometimes can be a bit annoying. And this book is clearly for young adults, and I think if I were 14 or 15 and had read this, I think I would have liked it much more than I do now. I gave this book 3 stars. I liked it. It was a fun story to listen to, especially because I already know a couple of people in this book, like Nick and Charlie. If you didn't know, Tori is the sister of Charlie. So if you read the graphic novel, then you might know it. What I can say is that this story is much more than it might appear to be. Like, some people might think, oh, it's a book about young adults and it's about a teenage girl who is just pissed off at the entire world and has no fun anymore, is always grumpy, always angry. But later you realize that there is a lot of underlying pressure and stress and emotions that Tori bottles up, and we might not know if they might explode someday. That's all I'm gonna say to this book. I wasn't blown away by this book. I did enjoy having more knowledge about more characters of the entire Heartstopper universe. Yay, next one! The next book I read was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, and this is a non-fiction book. I am the opposite of not giving a fuck. I give way too many fucks. So actually I'm the perfect candidate for this book. I just listened to it 2 days ago, and honestly I think with like self-help books, there was always a bit of prejudice coming from my side, because I feel like when people write self-help books and they're like normal people, they're like making themselves so important and so on top of a lot of things. A little bit of a god complex, and that just is something that my brain does. I don't know why, because I feel like, well, if you want to teach me about something, especially about something that is so philosophical and is not really academically rich, but more human behavior, human society rich, which is such a complicated topic because everyone is so different. I'm not really fond of such books, but this one was actually quite good. The one idea that this book starts with is that the more you think of a life that you dream of, the more you think of a life that is not yours, and you idolize that life and you dream about it and you think, oh, when I achieve this, I will have happiness. You will never be happy in your current life because you think that you have less than you could have. So that was actually a really good thing. You know it. It's not that new. It's not a new discovery someone made. It's a simple fact. I think it reminded me to maybe be more grateful and practice being more grateful and thankful for the life I have instead of living in a dream world. This book also covers a lot of other things. I'm gonna read you one quote out of the summary because it's so long. It says, once we embrace our fears, faults, and uncertainties, once we stop running and avoiding and start confronting painful truths, we can begin to find the courage, perseverance, honesty, responsibility, curiosity, and forgiveness we seek. Which I think is true, or there's at least some truth to it, and it wasn't that bad of a book, honestly. Okay, and the last book I read throughout the entirety of the month, actually, is a reread that I think I've finished like already 4 times this year, but I never really kept track of it. I Would Leave Me If I Could by Halsey, and it's a poetry collection, and it's their first. I listened to the book almost every day because as soon as I listen to her reading the poem, I am immediately motivated and inspired to write again. But it's just something that happens when I listen to her music, when I listen to their poetry and their writing, when I watch interviews of Ashley, and she's my favorite artist. And they just have a really big influence on me. So yeah, definitely wanted to talk more about this book. I can't actually say which one is my favorite. This book is about sexual freedom, sexuality, family issues, love. Actually, the basis of this book is life. I say it almost every time I talk about poetry. You could summarize a poetry collection, especially if it has like a very specific topic, but actually every single poem is about life, and this is hers. And I really love the way they write. I don't love all of the poems that are in here, but I love the collection. Halsey's poetry is very graphic. which sometimes is really intimidating and which I love. I'm gonna read you one of my favorite, which is also a song. It was a poem first and she transformed it into a song, and it's my favorite on their third album, which is called Manic. And the poem is called Forever is a Long Time. I spent a long time watering a plant made out of plastic, and I cursed the ground for growing green. I spent a long time substituting honest with sarcastic, and I cursed my tongue for being mean. Weightless, breathless restitude, motionless and absolute, you cut me open, sucked the poison from an aging wound. And now 50,000 war cadets would cower at the small brunette. To my surprise, not 6 feet high would reach and grab the moon if I should ask or just imply that I wanted a bit more light, so I could look inside his eyes and get the colors just right. This is just part of the poem. I don't want to read you everything because I'm scared that I will get, you know? So yeah, that is the last book I completed. I'm gonna quickly tell you about this book that I already started reading and spent some time with in September, which is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, and it's a Greek mythology retelling, how else could it be, about the princess of Crete and the daughter of the king Minos, Ariadne, and her sister Phaedra, and her brother, who you might know as the Minotaur. You know, the big ass Minotaur and the labyrinth. So far, I really like it. The first 30 pages, in my opinion, were really strong, especially because some tales and myths are retold, and I really love that. Okay, we're done with this video. We're through with all the books that I've read this month. This was the first video of October. Thank you to Marie for sponsoring this video with clothing and accessories. So yeah, thank you, Marie. Love you. Next week on Thursday, I will upload my October TBR. I hope you're excited for it. Let me know what books you read this month and which one was your favorite. I have to pick a highlight. Again, I read great books this month, especially with good female protagonists. Harry Potter because of the illustrated version, because it's so gorgeous, but that's more of a all-over experience. But if I had to choose, it's Malibu Rising. It was great. Loved it. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and comment down below what you would like to see next. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely do it. And don't forget to click the little bell next to the subscription button to never miss an upload, because you'll always get notified when I upload a video. I upload every single Thursday and Sunday, and I will update you guys on everything on my Instagram, right there. All the links to my social media are down below. And the only thing left to say is, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hopefully see you in my next video. Bye! It's so awkward to film thumbnails. I'm the devil. Whee! Okay. Carl. Ah! This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Heartstopper universe. Why are there so many ears in my face? Oh, there you go. The next book I read, but it's also. That was loud. Oh, nee, Quatsch. Yes, I ate 8 books. Yes. I ate. Why am I always eating books? I shouldn't eat books. What? I'm the devil today, and it's officially the first movie. What? I'm sorry. Okay, this was it. I'm gonna go. Bye, guys. What do you want? My dog is snoring.